Hello to all my dear friends. Now let's delve into the subject of overeating. It is something that I have heard very frequently. Yes, such a review. Yes, where a person says, I don't know how it happens. Yes, I simply go to the kitchen, open the fridge, and begin consuming everything without discrimination. Friends, let's designate it as gluttony or designate it as compulsive overeating. Let's designate it as some other psychological condition. A person is making an effort to consume something, etc. So what should I do? I desire to consume a large quantity and a large quantity without delay and consistently. What is the reason behind this happening, and what are the eventual consequences that it will ultimately lead to? In my perspective, the answer is exceedingly simple. This is, without a doubt, an external energy informational damage. That is to say, the information that an individual possesses is disrupted. It is invaded by extraneous information, and each time external negative information passes inside the field structure. Inside the field structure, its own important moment is automatically formed. Isn't that right? Do you concur with this explanation? Psychological and emotional blockage, reflecting the fact that something has entered from an external source. That is, we will state that this is the structure of this world, that if you observe a load entering into the system must provide justification for it internally, based on its own criteria and requirements. With their own interpretation tables, some of their own ideological solutions. It is because, yes, and these because are very well done by psychologists. They can break it all down nicely. It is because, and put all the diagnoses and so on, which helps provide a comprehensive understanding of the situation at hand. However, the outcome indeed, that is, you discovered the reason and the details, and nothing, and it's still unresolved. And you have the ability to transfer it. You can somehow ask leading questions, yes, so that a person can see it, or in some other way, yes. But it doesn't work, yes, it just doesn't work like that. What to do? And once again, yes, what is external energy informational impact? We are an information system, so everything I've been talking about, if you look closely at all the videos I've ever made, especially the early ones of mine, where I constantly repeat 10,000 times that we are an open book. That is data. The data that exists regarding an individual connects with external data sources every single second without interruption. External information, let's say, it has several types. It's layers. That is, we inhale some air from the space of the environment. We perceive what is happening around us. Some information, impressions are obtained, emotions, also some information, and finally our level and layer of social understanding of each other, verbal information, all our books, all our knowledge, all our other people. We communicate. There are various gossip. There are also stories. Somewhere difficulties occur in the world, somewhere else something happens. This is also information. It also impacts our system like any other information. Trees, flowers, birds singing, the murmur of a brook or waterfall all contribute to the overall ambience. So there is the ocean, fish, sunlight, wind, that is, all of these are examples of information systems that exist in nature. When interacting this information with the information that a person represents, that is, his cells, his organs, his intestinal peristalsis, pressure, heartbeat, various valve movements. I'm not even talking about the brain glands. It's a separate story, all this internal chemistry. Initially, we started with basic concepts. A significant quantity of data, diverse mechanical information systems, all of which function in our body continuously without interruption at all times. The functioning of the entire system relies heavily on external information for its operation and overall effectiveness. That is, it turns out that information actually comes to us from the outside every single second about how our body builds itself. And all of this is based on a specific circuit, meaning that all possible waves are effectively blocked from passing through the system and cannot propagate further. If you place a person inside the screen, they become mentally unstable. Within a span of 3 days to a maximum of 1 week, individuals with unique personalities can withstand the conditions. No connection with God, no connection with earth. A person gets lost. Panic arises in him. Why am I here in the first place? Allow me to leave. Panic attacks immediately. Therefore, we require this information. It transpires that someone truly requires our assistance. Some sort of rationale due to the notion that everything occurred spontaneously on its own. Friends, she is insane. For some reason, everything is not occurring autonomously. There is a plan. If you do not have it, it does not mean that it does not exist at all. He is relative to everything. And your growth and development, and the growth and development within your organ system, or the process of aging, or some other form of destruction, or something else entirely. Everything is going according to plan. When people have such serious psycho-emotional blockages, serious dysfunctions, entities can attach to them. I call them entities. What is an entity? Let us provide a definition for this order. In other words, it is a self-aware, important moment, self-aware system of organization and structure that exists within a larger context and plays a significant role in its environment. That is, an individual is a self-aware system. However, as we are aware, there are numerous sub-personalities within one individual. He woke up alone in the morning, and by lunchtime he was already someone else. The third falls asleep in the evening. Therefore, as modern psychology tells us, all difficulties are because of this is that. This is the inner child, and this is the inner sage, and this is the inner doctor, and this is the inner mom, dad, or whoever else, a friend with whom an imprint was made. Friends, I will not draw any parallels here, what is true and what is not true. I will simply state that an individual is fragmented. Contemporary human being is genuinely filled with fragmentation. Inside it, there are a large number of different people, they all say. Osh called it hypnosis, mass hypnosis. Meditation was referred to as dehypnotization. And in relation to this, I concur with him. However, this does not protect us from energy information entities. There are specific self-aware incorporeal essences that inherently desire to experience sensations and have a natural inclination towards seeking out emotions. They desire to live, they desire bodies, they desire to be significant, they desire to be seen. In fact, it's the same thing that a person desires. However, they no longer have bodies, but they still want to, as it were, in a way. And they somehow begin to interact. Yes, that is not necessarily indicating the presence of an aggressive entity, but rather the occurrence of an attack or torment towards a person. These might be deceased relatives or something, I don't know, a cherished kitty or something else. She is already deceased, but she does not have any choices remaining on the astral plane except for recollections of how her kind owner provided nourishment for her there, with milk and whatever else. And here she, remembering these moments, sees some light appearing and naturally strives for this light because it is dark and scary around. She wants to get closer to the light and climbs into the human's field structure, into this hole within his pre-existing predisposed shell, which he ultimately wound up depending on external influence or his own internal psycho-emotional blockage, thus hindering his personal growth and self-discovery. However, there is a predisposition, there is a hole to climb into. She climbed into that hole. That's it. She simply doesn't want to die. She doesn't want to disintegrate in the astral realm, so she strives for the only light she has remaining through that channel of interaction that has developed throughout her life and integrates into the structure of the human field. She, lacking intelligence, everything becomes simple and uncomplicated. Basic functions, so to speak, of an animal. However, it starts to have an impact on human life. And if it's a more serious demonic entity with its own serious intellectual base, which knows a lot of things there, itself multidimensional, it can adjust situations there, cause some spikes in the endocrine system, including in other people, to have various interactions there. So here is a completely serious, different process. It will be harder to extract her, of course. She will try to integrate into the nervous system, seize power and all that. That is, these processes actually, it's like I'm just talking about it. It seems like some kind of fantasy, But in reality, we've realized that this is how it is. Yes, this is how it is. I'm not inclined to fantasize or tell tall tales, yes. I have a big database of individuals, extensive work experience, yes, with myself for over 20 years. Yes, I grasp the state completely. I've devised my own sensory interpretation table effectively. I can precisely determine the impact, timing, and internal effects on an individual with great accuracy. What feelings there is the head hurting, or the stomach hurting, or the heart hurting? Here it presses on the chest. Here are the oblique pressures of the head. There at the bottom there can be some tensions and so on. Yes, feelings burning, there, heaviness, something else, overflow, a feeling of something, including heartburn. This is one of the manifestations of the essence that is inherent and resides inside the physical body of a human being. A person wants to eat. She's sitting right here in her stomach, and she switches everything, of course. So psychology won't help here. You won't be able to dig her out with any hypnosis, with any immersions. This is a problem of another level, i.e., you need to understand, you must reach a higher level than its location to remove it. You can't argue with her and say, go away, it's useless. And it's even more impossible to do this with fairy tales and persuasions at the verbal level of a person. We are at a distinct level from the perspective of an average individual who does not take the time to observe themselves, observe their breath, nonsensical, the position of the body, emotions, thoughts, and so on. Why? For hours. Where, who, hello, no one is home, everyone. In other words, humanity is becoming less intelligent, becoming less intelligent. People are unable to recognize that they are relinquishing their attention, that is life force, which they have the ability to allocate to themselves, to their body, and achieve better health. Instead, they choose to surrender this power to another entity, and that entity gains strength, while their own power diminishes, making them progressively weaker in comparison. That is it. Such a banal-like nonsense. And I utilize this thing in the same manner. I am informing you from YouTube, and all of you should watch it. Ta-da! Your energy has the power to freeze me in place at this very moment. Is that the case? Here. And besides me, you also watch other channels. But from other channels, you will not find out that at this moment, when you are not at home, you flew away with your consciousness, with your attention to what you are watching. You merged with it, you became it, you fell into a deep slumber. You do not perceive your breath, you do not perceive your emotional and mental background at this particular moment in time. That is the reason why I say, go back to yourself. Observe yourself, engage in meditation. Strive for balance and harmony, which, oh, how challenging it is to achieve. Especially in the modern world, it is becoming increasingly difficult to find it. As the information background is growing, it increasingly blocks the connection with the source, and it transforms people more and more into the essences that they try to live through in order to navigate the challenges of an ever-evolving society. But most often it is, of course, rude, extremely low level, and we see what actually happens to people, yes, and all this leads to some strange manifestations. A growing number of individuals in major cities are unable to handle this pressure, right? People are going absolutely crazy. Well, speaking globally, all of humanity has gone crazy a long time ago. And we are observing this with you. If you find me at least one reasonable person who will say yes, no, everything is fine, well, my friends, and I will be interested to discuss if the person is really reasonable and knows something. Let's see if we can find that person together. Because each and every rational person who possesses knowledge, who has a typical educational background, who has a normal, abstinent, clear consciousness that can truly perceive what individuals are doing in large quantities, what genuinely bothers them, is aware of the significance of understanding people's actions and the true sources of their concerns. And the requests of the same Google, the same Yandex, any other search engine system, they demonstrate what people are concerned about, providing valuable insights into their worries and interests. Individuals observe that which brings about their own destruction. Individuals observe that which genuinely captivates their attention and carries it progressively and increasingly farther and farther away from their own selves. Most often it's all non-intellectual things. If you really want to stop eating, I'll tell you. To initiate the process, gather your willpower, muster up some inner intention, and direct it towards actively seeking out a suitable teacher who can provide guidance and support on your journey of learning and personal growth. In search of someone who has already figured themselves out, in search of someone who succeeds at something, in search of someone who has a result that satisfies you, and relying on this outcome, go forth and seek knowledge with a thirst for learning and a determination to grow. Make a conscious effort to explore various options on how to approach, what to say, how to be genuinely helpful, what actions to take in order for a person to willingly agree to teach you, to become your benefactor, your teacher, your guru, your mentor. That is, someone who wholeheartedly takes responsibility for ensuring that the valuable information that has the potential to profoundly change you, transform you, reaches you, and has a lasting positive impact on your personal growth, knowledge acquisition, and overall development as an individual seeking guidance and wisdom. But you must be capable of overcoming your ego naturally, the feeling of self-importance, your notions about yourself, about what I already possess. I'm already enlightened. Yes, I'm already conscious. Why do I need to go somewhere to pursue education? Friends, if you do not study anywhere, you remain stationary. If you remain stationary, time continues to progress, friends, indicating that you are being pushed backwards. In order to truly grow and develop in this world, you must move forward in time and keep up with the pace to ensure progress. In any other case, there is solely a single motion. Therefore, my friends, what should we do with regards to the provision of sustenance? In my belief, no methods of persuasion, psychological conversations, or any other approaches will provide any assistance or yield any positive outcomes. Yes, you can try them, certainly. Perhaps you do not have an entity, but merely something truly got lost in your head. And if it is not an external influence, if it is your internal psycho-emotional dysfunction, yes, you can resolve it with the assistance of certain techniques, practices, or another method. But if it's an external influence, then you definitely need someone to remove it. You have to develop to the level of removing it, that's it. So you have to be cleansed, you have to start with something, you have to work for several years, you have to come to some initiation, some dedication, some power, all these years. After that, you will be able to do some simple things. And for years to come, you will be able to clean up some things. And you have the ability to remove years that have already passed, something akin to this, which gives rise to such serious deviations that have an effect on individuals, have an effect on their mental abilities, have an effect on their sensations, their feelings. And naturally, it is an absolute tragedy when an individual lacks the ability to control their own actions. That is, he would like not to eat, but he can't. That is, we can say, instead of saying don't eat, let's go on a hunger strike. It will only make it worse. A person will be hungry for a day, 2, 3, and then... So, my friends, I will tell you once more, regrettably, professional work is required in this situation. So, just like that, let alone taking some pills and so on, it's even a bigger imbalance, an even bigger violation. So, in order to remove this entity, a person is needed who understands what he will be doing. There are not so many people like that, actually. You can count them on the fingers of one hand on planet Earth. There are not as many of them as we see on the market now, who position themselves as if they can do something. Most frequently, individuals simply came to the realization that they can make money. It does not signify that they are capable of doing something. Make an effort, dear friends. Make an effort to proceed towards establishing an understanding of what belongs to you, what exists, and what is currently trendy in order to stay updated. At present, it is incredibly trendy to engage in activities like yoga, Reiki, astrology, and personal growth trainings such as business trainings, psychology, and acting skills. Moreover, there is a surge in the popularity of selling and learning about destiny, selling techniques, pickup, and participating in various circles, particularly online. However, Despite the multitude of options available, the content of these activities often lacks substance, leaving participants unsatisfied with the empty nature of the experiences. That's why, my friends, in order not to have emptiness, in order for it to really give something, create an internal reference point, some understanding for yourself. Nothing comes from nothing. Everything for some reason. Everything has a plan. Everything has growth. Everything has its own movement. This growth can be in one direction and in the other direction. The efforts to create a structure that leads in one direction or in the other direction are approximately equal in magnitude. In just one instance, an individual was instructed and acquired the ability to generate issues for themselves. In another instance, an individual is taught how to eliminate those frameworks that give rise to problems. It must be immediately understood that these are years because you have worked for years in one direction, and now it will take years to completely blow it all up, and then more years will be needed to meticulously build it in the other direction. Then you will obtain the outcome. Simply discard it, have a meal, and enjoy your food to the fullest. You will not succeed. I had 3 clients. We witnessed the outcome, yes, after a period of time, but an individual's personal convictions, yes, subsequently, it is typically linked, yes, to specific, well, not precisely narcotic there, psychotropic medications. Well, I mean, an individual has an addiction, yes, apart from the fact that, the refrigerator opens and everything is consumed indiscriminately, there exists another addiction. Most frequently, these individuals, and the internal conviction that one requires to release of this does not reach individuals, that it has any connection whatsoever. Well, this doesn't apply to that. A person says, well, there, I smoke. Let's say, yeah, and here I eat, so to speak. These are different, so to speak. What's stopping me, right? I am simply smoking here, or another thing there. In other words, an individual does not establish that association with dependency. The next level already triggers this dependency. So you desire to eliminate this dependency, comprehend this dependency. To understand this dependency, you need to understand the reason, what it is. The reason is usually one. Consequently, I am going to smash myself into a pancake at this very moment, which will result in all of you feeling remorseful. This is a small infant that is tightly wrapped in a swaddle, which mother shouts, calls, but she does not come. That is the moment when a person, each and every person, every single person has it in their possession. What owe you so? And now I will make myself even worse then. And if you haven't immersed yourself in yourself, if you haven't gone inside yourself really so deeply that you could work it out, and it takes years, my friends, don't delude yourself. Whoever is 20 years old, 25 years old over there, masters or something similar, 30 years old, friends, it is a joke, just a humorous remark. These are years, years, years. You will not be able to work it out like this, so don't even try. And it is not because there is a belief that you will not be able to work it out like this. It is simply that, similar to how an apple ripens over time, some things require patience and cannot be rushed. This does not imply that he has a simple conviction about this apple, but rather that he needs some time for it to ripen and develop fully. Such is the order of things. Therefore, it requires time for the completion of this formation. And here the same. Yes, it is possible to speed up this time with various techniques, practices, primarily with a teacher who specifically sees that, yes, here will be the result. This is the outcome this individual will achieve if he takes this action. If he takes this action, if he takes this action, and similar to this, similar to this, similar to this. Then after this period, we will truly witness the outcome from this individual. And there are such people out of 21, but out of 100, there is only one. And when you look at the rest of them, you understand that even if they all do this, they won't do it because they already have a different internal organization. Even if they perform all of these actions, they will still not achieve success because it is already evident that everything has been lost in that place. That is identical to sports. Here, you bring a person who is 40 years old to gymnastics, allow him to observe, yes, I will also perform a jump in this location now. They are capable of doing it. Well, I am also capable of doing it. He will not be able to. Well, if he did not do this gymnastics for all of these 35 years, he will not be able to, because he does not possess the necessary skills or capabilities. And another one who has a predisposition, I don't know, you can see it there at the age of 7, 5 years, what you can see, it will fall. This is 1 out of 20 children in the kindergarten. He will go, they will take him, start training him. He trains for several years, and then by his adulthood, at his peak there, at the age of 25, from kindergarten, he comes to the point where he can truly perform some serious, deep, and incredibly beautiful elements with great skill and precision. In spiritual growth, everything is the same. You will not be able to fly somewhere in enlightenment in a few years, in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years. Whoever you see, all are Brahmandas, and I fully merged. Where did you vanish? If you quit, then entirely in the opposite way. So if you truly desire to stop eating, my recommendation to you is to find someone who will assist you in your endeavor to overcome this habit of consuming food and provide the necessary support and guidance. You are incapable of handling it by yourself. Light and love are indispensable for this endeavor.